Good evening, everyone. Welcome again. Green flag is out on the Done Right TV Go Fast podcast. I'm Rob Hinckley along with Brett Severson. Spencer Dirk's in the house. Spencer, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good.
Good. I wish we were at racetracks and stuff, but you know how that goes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, we got a lot of talking to do with Spencer, and so we'll talk with him. We also want your opinion on your driver of the year. And I got to turn off some of these because they come on automatically, and then you hear an echo. We want your opinion on driver of the year. We'll talk with Spencer Dirks and what's ahead in 2021. This will be our last Go Fast for the 2020 year, and we'll come back in January. Let you have a quiet holiday season, which a lot of us will anyway. But as we always do, we start out with news and notes, starting with Team Done Right. Season over for everybody. I know the Roberts Motorsports team starting to gear up for 2021 already. So is Tyler Soppe and Ryan Walker. So we'll keep you up to date when we join you again in January on how things are going. As far as news, boy, maybe it's our podcast or maybe he's just a good driver. John Wyndham, we had him on the podcast here a week ago previewing the SCDRA part of the Georgia Outlaw State Championships. No, John has won a lot. That's why I wanted to have him on. He built a lot of those racing engines. John led all 50 laps and picked up the $5,000 at the SCDRA portion of the Georgia Outlaw State Championship last weekend on Saturday night. So congratulations, John. Glad catching up with you there at the track as well as here on the podcast a week ago. Don't forget this Saturday, November 28th, Race Car Parks Auction, Clements Auction Company at Dubuque. Doug Clements, Greg Castley, the Welders, all part of that. 10 a.m., free admission, door prizes. You can check out more and what's going to be up for bid at auctionzip.com. Nothing really new about the bull ring at the Rock Island County Fairgrounds for 2021. Things in motion, and we don't want to announce any details at this time. As soon as we know something, we will let you know, but I know there's some folks working on it to have the bull ring open in 2021. Talking about working together, and two Friday night tracks, Davenport Speedway and Lee County Speedway, got together, did a bulk purchase on transponders, and are going to share them. Got a better price that way, and both tracks will be using transponders in 2021. And for Davenport Speedway, I know you can get more information and even buy the transponders at the banquet on a date yet to be announced.
January 8th.
January 8th. Okay.
It's on the internet. I believe it's January 8th.
Okay, good. Hopefully that'll hold up, and Lee County Speedway doing the same thing. All-Star Circuit of Champions, Tony Stewart-owned sprint car series, sponsored by Ollie's Bargain Outlet. 59 dates in 2021, including a couple around here. Friday, July 30th. They'll be down at 34 Raceway. Saturday, July 31st over at Knoxville. And if I remember right, I think Kyle Larson sweat both those races in 2020. I know he won at least down at Burlington. So keep that in mind if you're a sprint car fan. The Ollie's Bargain Outlet All-Star Circuit of Champions, 34 Raceway on Friday, July 30th. Knoxville on Saturday, July 31st. Central Arizona Speedway, Casa Grande, Arizona. The Thunder Nationals over the weekend. And get out the brooms for, you guessed it, Ricky Thornton Jr. won all 3 nights in his IMCA modified. I bet you've had a couple races against him, haven't you?
I've only raced him in a late model. I've never raced him in a modified.
Really?
They were talking about he was coming down to Davenport the last race, and I was really looking forward to that just because we've been running good, and probably would have whipped my butt, but we were going to give it our all if he did come down. But
I think that'd be a heck of a match race, don't you think, Brett?
Yes, it would. It was going to be a heck of a match race that night. About 5 more laps, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so anyway, get out the brooms for RTJ, wins all 3 IMCA modified features down at Central Arizona Speedway. Bone Larson was down there Friday night, got 3rd, Saturday 7th, and Sunday 4th. So congratulations to Bone Larson on his good runs down there. And they ran 6 heats worth, so they had quite a few cars. Sport Mods. It was almost a complete sweep for Cody Thompson. I know he's from Sioux City, but we see him every once in a while, and he goes down to Arizona anyway. He wins on Friday and Saturday night.
ends up fourth on Sunday. Austin Becerra, who just won in Vegas a couple weekends ago, he got fifth on Friday. The first night that Cody Thompson won, they both had to win B mains to get into the A main, and then they came through the field. Thompson first, Becerra fifth, and then Becerra got seventh after winning his B main again on Saturday, and then he got second on Sunday. That actually finished ahead of Thompson, who got fourth. So that's your news and notes. And now time to go around the track, around the room. Really no takeaways from this past weekend, but just we'll do our takeaways on 2020 and just some thoughts overall on racing in 2020 from your perspective, Spencer.
I mean, it started off slow, obviously, with COVID, but when it came back with a bang. So, I mean, it was racing every weekend. I mean, it was awesome, I thought. So.
Well, and I think because of the late starts, I mean, we saw some unbelievable car counts at tracks this year too.
Most definitely.
So, I mean, 170 cars on opening night at Davenport.
Yeah.
And then 180
the next weekend.
Yeah.
And as we were talking last week, I don't think it dipped under 100 but one time this year. So, and that was on a night that was threatening rain. And
right.
So.
Yep. COVID at the top of my list as well. And what it did, and I think it actually helped build the sport over the season.
Most definitely. I really think, like you said, the car counts, it was crazy. There was if I remember right, there was 50-something modifieds for a weekly show. I was like, holy crap.
Everybody said they wanted to see B-mains again. Yeah. Well, we pulled it off this year.
Got the B-mains. And one of the other things, and I know we didn't get to see Spencer as much, over at the Bull Ring of the Rock Island County Fairgrounds, the revamp of the Bull Ring this year, I thought was impressive.
Yep, I agree. Even though it was a tough year for them, I think it was still a good year over there. So,
did you get to the Bull Ring this year with the late model?
No, I went and watched. I did. I have. They can call me chicken. I have not made it over there yet.
No,
so.
I won't call you a chicken.
Yeah.
We saw car counts like that, and we saw a lot of good racers in the stands watching, no doubt about it. And we were talking about COVID and the effect. Davenport, just in the Quad City area, 36 nights of racing though. Davenport had 20 nights of racing, including their dirt in November, and East Moline, the Bull Ring, had 16 nights of racing, so we still had 36 nights of racing.
We really didn't lose. Yeah. I mean, it seems like it was a slow year, but we really didn't lose.
No.
I've had nights of 20 nights of racing, or years of 20 nights of racing, so.
Most definitely.
Yeah. And something from kind of on a selfish standpoint for Dunright.tv, we started with the battle on the concrete with the Ice World Championships running on the concrete in Dubuque. We did that on February 8th. We covered their Ice World Championship race. We did that one as a freebie on Facebook on February 29th. Our next event was the Spring Fling down at Donaldson on May 2nd. We have done, since that battle on the concrete, or including the battle of the concrete, 97 nights on Dunright.tv. Wow. In 2020. And we have 3 left. 3 nights left. We're going to hit 100 as long as the weather cooperates. So,
that's cool. That's cool.
That was. Well, and then we have been, as we mentioned, we're taking your nominees for Driver of the Year. We've been doing this for a couple weeks, and I tell you what, this guy's name comes up quite a bit, doesn't it?
Sure it does. I was saying, are you keeping track of that, or are we just going to pick one at the end?
No, we're just anybody, because everybody's going to have just having fun with it. We've had. And I know Spencer's name has come up several times, and he certainly was on.
It's hard for it not to come up.
Yes.
I mean, your name was said quite a few times this year. So,
yeah.
Right. Well, and a couple, I tried to think, and a couple of the races that I did see, we were able to pull up. And let's see if I can do this. I have not done this before, so this is going to be weird.
Some live highlights.
We're going to do some highlights.
Oh, boy.
And
we are going to be able to see them, so we're just going to have to guess.
Yep. Well,
that's not going to make any friends, huh?
Well, this was an amazing finish. August.
Thornton starting to close the gap. 5 laps left in the books. Thornton within 2 car lengths of Justin Dirt. Oh, look out! We got a race. 38 to the bottom. On to number 4. Dirks, your leader. 2 to go. Dylan Thornton trying to get a run on him. We're coming up on the lap car of Bob Dominacki. White flag. 1 to go. We'll see if Dominacki plays in this. 38. Dirks. Oh, Dirks, 38 underneath. Oh, my.
That was definitely a scary one.
We're talking about what'd you think about that one? That was a heck of a finish.
Yeah, it was. He's a cool kid, Dylan. He get lots of respect for him. He raced me clean there to the line and whatever. It's just good hard racing, but I didn't know he was that close or whatever. And there was a hole in 3 and 4, and I don't know. Normally I smarten up and I try and figure out a different way through it, but I don't know. I just got too comfortable and kept running through the same dang hole, and I about lost it. It was, it was a close and good race. So
I know you and I were at 2 tracks together all year. That was closest.
That was
finish I'd seen all year.
Mine, yeah. In fact, I said I had a funny story on this one. As a scorer, you can kind of see when a race is going to become a race.
right.
So I nudged the scoreboard operator next to me because there's 2 of us there. So I nudged him and I just gave him the keep an eye. And then I nudged Shane and said, keep an eye. And out of the 4 people watching, I had it wrong.
Really?
Yep. I called Dylan
Right.
and went to them, and I was outnumbered. So I was like, okay. So I was sitting in the back. I'm sitting there, man, did I just rob this guy out of a win? So then Bibster comes down, and I said, can you bring that up real quick? And he brought it up, and I'm watching it. And somehow he stopped it perfect right on the finish line.
Right.
And I'm looking at the tires. They're pretty, and he's at a little bit of an angle, so it's
Right.
not
Right.
a telltale. Looking at the tires, they're pretty much dead even. Looking at this, they're dead even. But what I finally saw was I saw your sail panel.
Right.
And I was like, I can see his behind yours.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was like,
posted-
okay, I got you. You guys
Yeah.
got me. I'm glad I went that way. 'Cause
Well, I posted a still photo of it on my Facebook page, and of course where our camera was compared to the start finish line, and of course I got grief.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I know that, but at least you see the finish, and then
That's right.
had another great night. This one was a little more of a wasn't nearly as close, more of a dominating performance.
2 to go. Spencer Dirks, Brad Dirks, no relation, not even spelt the same. White laundry waving, 1 to go. Off in a 3 and 4, one last time. He'll bring it home. $3,000. Richard Spencer Dirks, your Fall Bash champion.
All right, a couple big nights. And your thoughts on the Fall Bash one?
It's pretty funny. I talked to Ryan Doomey, the promoter or whatever, Thursday night. I was ready to leave because I was like, I just couldn't. I didn't know what I had wrong. And then the next 2 nights I went out and it was pretty good or whatever. We changed some stuff or whatever. And I've raced at Tipton like 3 times, I think. I've tested there like hundreds of laps, but never raced there. And especially obviously in a modified. That was my first race in a modified, but obviously we will be going back, but
Now,
yeah, it was a
Thursday
good.
you had a decent finish, didn't you? You were still in top 10, weren't you?
Yeah,
if I remember right.
The heat race was a little iffy, but we had to come from behind or whatever Thursday. I started like 19th and got to 5th, and then I slipped up and got to finish 7th. But it is what it is. So
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was a couple of the highlights that hit me right off the top of the head. The finish with Dylan Thornton at Davenport was amazing, and then and not only was it 3,000, but you got the 2,000 bonus at Tipton.
yeah, that was nice.
And I gotta say, I'm not supposed to have favorites in this sport, but Davey Allison was one of my all-time favorites. So it was really cool. It was really cool seeing all those cars out there.
Yeah, it
'cause,
was.
I mean, even Big Boy was announced. We got Ricky Rudd out there with Dale Earnhardt.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
So how? What's the story behind that scheme?
So that's actually my dad's. So when he got a race car, that was his first. That was his first design or whatever. So, but he raced up at Hawkeye Downs or whatever, an asphalt late model.
Right.
But that was his first one, and then Timmy and Ryan, they put that post out or whatever. They started at, I don't know, 500,000 or whatever, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna do something cool for this. I text my dad and I'm like, hey, what do we think we should do for this? And we didn't know, and then my dad's like, oh, I know, we should do this, and I was like, perfect. I was like, this is so, yeah, we have a picture of it, of his and mine or whatever, of back to back or whatever. It's to a T to the way that he had it or whatever, but with my sponsors or whatever.
Right.
So
That's cool.
yep.
Excellent. A lot of folks on Facebook tonight. Glad, and we knew when we'd have a celebrity, and we would pile them on, no doubt about it. But a couple of Brian Brunchean, our buddy up there, of course, his son Chase runs the Sharp Mini late models, and he says Dubuque has agreed to run the Sharp Mini late models every other weekend next season. So that's a big step, because basically they only got practice, and Chase was running with the mini mods, and came down here to East Moline, ran with the mod lights, and had been running up at West Union. That was about it. So that's a big step. And Chuck Hobbs, say, Chuck, haven't talked to you in a while, but glad you're with us tonight. From my point of view, it looked like more tracks tried to work together this race season. Was that apparent to you, Spencer?
I'd agree. I think a lot of promoters work together, and everything started out so slow that everybody kind of was forced to. You know what I mean? I think everybody just didn't really care. Everybody wanted to race.
Yeah.
So.
And they wanted somebody else to be the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
That way, if it went bad,
That was true.
That way, if it went bad, they could say, it's their fault.
Yeah.
But Waylon is chiming in. Waylon Schultz, he says, I wonder if Spence has snacks in his pocket to make it through the holiday.
He always does that. No, I don't.
Would that have to go along with your conversation we were having on the four-cylinder?
Oh, yeah.
Well, obviously the modified, you played a couple modified highlights. He had the late model out also. What'd you learn on the late model this year?
I don't, a lot of stuff. We had quite a few good runs in the late model. Just didn't have stuff fall our way. I thought I was going to get one at Davenport for the SLMR, and then the radiator cap flew off, and the steering wheel went left. The car went right. So, and I went off the bank or whatever. So there was $5,000, but oh well, racing in general, I raced way more this year, so that helped out, obviously our performance or whatever. So I would say if I can keep doing the way I did this year, whatever next year, if work allows me to, then we'll be fine. We'll be able to get up there and do
We're
some
going to
stuff.
hear your name a lot more next year.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Not to
Well, we heard a lot
jinx
this year.
myself,
I think
but yeah,
No,
hopefully.
I think you're right.
So I just need to stay in the seat, whether it's a modified or a late model. I mean, the modified is a blast. I've never had so much fun. I mean, you're not supposed to say you're having fun, you know what I mean? But I had a blast.
So when does the stock car come? Because that seems to be the trend.
Yeah,
Late model, modified, and stock
kidding.
cars.
We were at a wedding for my cousin or whatever about a month ago on Halloween, and that was the week after the enduro, or no, it was the night after the enduro, and it went from me and my dad talking about getting an enduro car to all of a sudden my dad, me, my uncles, everybody was, you know, I mean, they were talking smack to each other at this wedding. You're not going to finish. Nobody's going to finish. You know what I mean? So it was a blast.
That's cool.
That is cool. And we talked about before we went on the Enduro. You ran the Enduro end of the year, and you were just talking about it. So how'd that come about?
My buddy Joe LaFrance and Brian, they were Joe texted me. He's like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" I was like, "Heck yeah!" I was like, "Why not?" You know, and I don't have anything else going on for racing, so why not? And I text him and he texted me like a week before. He's like, "Hey, are you sure you're still going to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to go." He's like, "All right, pick the car up." I mean, it still had raccoon poop on it. And I got in this thing and there was straw all over it and rolled it out and made sure my cookies were in there and my drink and got out there and it was a blast. If it went into limp mode on I think lap 28 or something like that. So I wasn't very fast, but hey, it was a lot of fun. So.
Did you have heated seats in like some others did?
Nope. Joe was Roslick. He had heat in his car. I had a coat on. I was freezing. So.
A couple of them said that they left the heated seats on.
Yeah. Kai, he had.
They're in there sweating.
Yeah, he had heated stuff. I was like, you guys, this is not fair.
I can tell you, I was like you. I was loaded up. And
it was
and
freezing.
Yep. I was shooting that night, so I had 6 layers on up on the top row, and I don't know how everybody survived that night, but it was cold, especially the driver.
Yeah.
Well, I think I told Kyle Hawkins a couple weeks ago he should have pulled around when it was on fire so we could at least
seriously.
Yeah.
Had some s'mores.
Yeah,
definitely. Hey, we're taking your driver of the year nominations and who you think driver of the year. It can be any class, can be anywhere. Just pop us there on Facebook, and we'll take that. We've had them all. I mean, we even had a couple for Kyle here, Hawkins a couple weeks ago. He had a good season, and like we said, Spencer's name has come up, and trying to Ike's name has come up a couple times.
Ike.
What's that?
Yeah.
No, I can probably tell you what that is.
Yeah.
This would probably have to do with the Dirt in November race.
November, right?
Yeah.
And
Lee County. Yeah.
And something happened. I don't know because I only get to see the front stretch, and unfortunately, I get to be the jerk that tells you to go to the back.
Yeah.
So, but I am going to tell you that those fans got one hell of a show that night. I know you probably hated every minute of it, but. And I said at the end of it, I said, can we at least give him hard charger? Because, I mean, he did pass the whole field. And 2 more laps, and I don't think we would have been saying Jeff Ike's name that night. So
I was going to pull that up, and I know you had to go all the way back 24th and move up to second.
Yeah, we had to watch the whole race.
We had to watch the whole race. But, yeah, I know that definitely is one of the highlights around here this year, going 24th to second.
Yeah, it was. My face was about as red as that couch over there. I knew I needed to be smarter on that start, you know what I mean? But everybody was so aggressive, I was like, well, I'm going to get my foot on there too, you know? And, of course, it bites me in the butt. I go down to 3 and about roll it, and I didn't think I thought I was junking the race car rather than – so, it was – I'm glad the fans got to see what
they got a show that night.
I would have rather had the check.
And I thought I was going to have to do some nudging again, saying, guys, keep your eyes on this because it's going to get close.
Yeah, I needed a caution or a couple more laps.
So. I agree.
Definitely. Dan Hoffman says Spencer Dirks for sure for driver of the year.
No, Dana.
and Kyle is watching. Kyle Hawkins says, thanks, Brett Severson. I'd say next time, but if I'm moving past cars on fire, hopefully. Definitely.
Well, I'd rather not see anybody on fire. But if we're going to get on fire, come up front.
That's right. Hi, Lisa Benningfield. She says Dallin Murdy for driver of the year. That's not a bad choice. That's a solid choice as well. So one of the other things we do is history, and we'll tie it in with a giveaway. Kyle and his beautiful wife gave us some things to give away. Concrete Services placing. We have a hoodie, and all has to do with our history. We're going back to August, not that far really. Jack Fitzgibbon. Really, Jackie could vote for yourself, and he's voting for number 29 for sure. And Brian Brunchine says, driver of the year, I'd pick Logan Duffy. It's a solid choice as well. Logan had a good season in that late model. For our history today, we go back to Farley Speedway not that far ago, Monday, August 7th, 2017. Corn Belt Clash late models, 10,000 to win. Mike Marlar, Winfield, Tennessee. The Winfield Warrior raced to the victory. Apparently, off to the scales he went.
Oops.
30 pounds light.
Oops.
And here's what, because the rule for Corn Belt was no burn off at that time, and he wasn't aware of that, and because he missed the driver's meeting because he was stuck in traffic due to an accident on Highway 20. So who was ruled the winner? Spencer Dirks. His very first super late model win, 21 years old at the time, started on the outside of the front row. Let's see, that's my history. That's my
Let's say you should have asked you should have done that as the question.
but anyway,
Did you know the answer? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Top three raced within single car lengths of each other, Marlar and Dirks, and another one, and Spencer ended up winning ahead of Shane Clanton, Rodney Sanders, Chad Simpson, and Justin Kai. Not too many good drivers.
No, not too many. Yeah,
just a
bunch of slouches. Yeah.
Bloomer was there too. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. And well, this is the trivia part for the Concrete Services Placing hoodie. Please answer on Facebook. And 2 rules: if you've won this season, you're not eligible. So if you end up answering and somebody will copy your answer, and 2, you must be able to pick up your prize in the next. And well, we'll give you to the end of the year. 1414 West Locust Street. And all we're going to do is give it away next year anyway. So again, you pick it up at Dunright TV and Security Systems, 1414 West Locust Street. So Spencer started on the front row, outside front row, if I remember right, next to his racing idol. And who is that racer? Answer on Facebook. We'll come back to that. We'll come back if nobody can do it. And probably all of Spencer's crew and buddies know the answer to that. So.
Oh yeah.
So the first
So
one.
we're gonna rule them out, or are we gonna let
They probably don't even remember.
Concrete
Yeah, that was
Services
a few
placing
years ago.
hoodie up for grabs. But Spencer started in the front row next to his racing idol. That race, Corn Belt Clash race, is part of that Monday-Tuesday deal that they did with West Liberty back in the day. And so who was Spencer's racing idol that started on the pole of that race? So answer on Facebook. Branson Benningfield votes Spencer Dirks for Driver of the Year.
I think you wrapped it up
Yeah.
tonight.
Dan Hoffman got it. Bloomer.
Oh yeah.
Dan Hoffman, you got it. Scott Bloomquist. Very first answer we get. Dan Hoffman, you got a Concrete Services Placing hoodie. Just pick it up here at Dunright at 1414 West Local. Well, and then Quentin Fishline, Tom Steiner. Sorry, you guys are late. Dan Hoffman was quick on the trigger. Jerry Mackey comes in with Bloomer as well. Dan Hoffman got it in first, so congratulations. So how did Scott Bloomquist become your racing idol?
He just it's kind of a weird word, but like the swagger, you know what I mean? Just the like, he just doesn't care, and it's just, and I just like that, you know what I mean? And he was just the oddball. You know what I mean? Not as though I'm anything like that, but it's just somebody always has Scott Bloomquist in their mouth. You know what I mean? Whether that's a good thing or bad thing. Whether you hate him or you like him, he's great for the sport, and that's just the way I liked it. You know what I mean? He's smooth. He can run the cushion. He can run the middle. He can run the bottom. You don't see him run the cushion as much anymore, but I mean, he's always there. You know what I mean? He just, I don't know. And that night, obviously, I lined up right next to him. I was shaking. So,
Can I beat him, or am I gonna wreck
no,
him?
you have no idea. I was like sitting in there, like, you know what I mean? Take a deep breath, like,
Hey,
geez.
can I have your autograph?
Yeah, exactly. Seriously. But
Well, Bloomer got 9th that night, by the way.
yeah.
He finished 9th. And
So you had the best of the best of the best behind you.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the only people that weren't there were like, you know what I mean, Richards and Shepard and
Yeah.
I mean I would rule out any day the Simpsons are. When you come to Iowa, you always think about the Simpsons and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're good. It's just you're not like if you win a heat race or if you win a B main or win a race or whatever anymore, you've earned it. Like there is no slouches in the field anymore.
no, there isn't. I agree with that. Let's see. Kelly Jeffries congratulations on a great season, Spencer, and thank you, Rob, Brett, Bipster, all the drivers, the teams, promoters on the tracks that we were able to visit, and thanks to all of the fans. It turned out being a pretty great year all around. The racing community is second to none. Thank you all. That's from Done Right TV owner Kelly Jeffries.
Who's enjoying South
South
Carolina
Carolina,
right now.
the beach today.
On the beach.
I was on the beach in Savannah, Georgia on Saturday, but Tim Plummer says, was his brother not his idol?
Yeah, I wasn't around really. I was like, I'm in the wagon probably sleeping. I was the age difference, so.
Until I found this story. In fact, I found it in the Cedar Rapids Gazette. I think it was the Cedar Rapids Gazette. This story was in about that race in Farley, but I was going to use someone because he was a two-time Miller 100 winner, Justin.
Oh yeah, yeah, he was. I mean, all I know is stories, but I mean, from what my dad has said, from what I've always heard from people, it's just, and then there are some old YouTube videos, of him, and then, of what I've watched or whatever, he was just good. He was a natural, and he's still good. He helps me so much he's just intelligent. Yeah. So.
That's good. That's cool.
Joe LaFrance says Spencer Dirks is my idol.
Joe.
Jerry Mackey says Bloomer is a freak. Spencer needs to find a new idol. Hey, he is one of those guys, just the swag. Because I remember I just got divorced, and so this was probably 1998, something like that, and I was covering the World 100, and I had my girlfriend with me, and they had a press conference, and it was Bloomer and probably Jack Boggs and a couple of the other guys. And Bloomer's just sitting there on the stool, legs wide open, hands behind his head like that. And my girlfriend couldn't stop staring at him.
Oh, yeah.
And that was back in the late 90s. So that was when he was still in his 20s, you know.
Well, and you said it, love him or hate him, he did. It's kind of like Dale Earnhardt. I mean, there was a time everybody hated Dale Earnhardt too.
Yeah.
So, but love him or hate him, he did stuff for the sport, and he took it places.
Yeah. He is literally Dale Earnhardt of racing.
And you probably can't find somebody. I won't say you can't find somebody, but it's going to be hard to find somebody that has not heard of his name.
Oh, most definitely.
They may not be able to tell you a lot about him, but they're going, oh yeah, I've heard that name before.
Right. Or like Moyer or whatnot.
Moyer.
They go in the same sentence.
Right.
So.
Bloomquist and Moyer definitely go in the same sentence. Waylon wants to know how many sets of sticks Justin Bro giving you.
A lot.
Yeah. Matt Pugh says Quentin Fishline, RC car driver of the year. So talk about that.
Oh,
I know Quentin's on your crew.
Oh yeah, Quentin's he's my crew chief. He buses, but so we have like I think it was like 2 years ago. Dan, he was like, hey, we need to go watch these RC car races. These dirt RC car races. And it was over across the river at, it's called Rockstar Raceway or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we go over there, and obviously, instantly, I was hooked. You know what I mean? So
it's racing.
It's racing.
It's dirt.
Exactly. So I go over to Thunder Road Hobbies and there was a used car there for like $500. I bought it right away. You know what I mean? Just, I have to have it. So I went over there, got started. I was terrible. Absolutely terrible. But now, I mean, this is like my second season or second winter, going into winter or whatever, doing it. And Quentin, I begged him to do it. And Matt did it with me last year, and Quentin did it this year, and he's the one hooked. So he's probably at my house working on his stuff right now. But yeah, it's a blast. Like Mike Murphy, I'm sure you obviously heard of Murph, but he's like unreal. Murph is just like crazy. He's so good. He won the RC Chili Bowl.
Oh, really?
He dead serious
Wow.
for RC car racing. He's incredible. So
that's amazing. It just in the blood, no matter what.
Yeah, most definitely. What
season it is?
Yep, most definitely.
Now, did you get into iRacing over the?
iRacing.
I mean, that was the craze there for a while. I was like, this may be where we're going.
Exactly. I thought the same thing. I was like, I went out to my buddies, Jake Morris's. went out and got in his little simulator, and I was terrible. I was worse than terrible.
Well, you can't feel the car.
No,
so, I mean,
it's not realistic at all. Like, I got on the gas and instantly spin out. And he's like, you got to be smoother. I'm like, no, this is not real. So, like, I can't even get out of the pits. So, I did not get into iRacing. There's some people that get into iRacing. I cannot do it.
So it's a good thing we didn't go that route.
Most definitely. I wouldn't even be able to get out of the C main. So
well, that's probably why. And you start, and some of these things were putting up big money for that, but you never saw any race car drivers up there.
Not at all. It like you literally. Nothing against them. I'm sure I mean, it's hard. I know it's hard, but it's not realistic at all. Like there's no fear in it. I think I heard. Like Davenport, he did it or whatever, and he had a comment about it. It's like, it's not real. You know what I mean? There's no fear. When you run right up next to a wall.
Yeah, you don't feel it when you bounce off the wall.
Exactly. Or if you run right next to a guy and you run into him, it's like, there's no consequences. Yeah. So it's just, I mean, not as though I really care, but.
Well, what's funny with Davenport, I remember seeing a post, Twitter or Facebook or something. They went all the way from Georgia, like to Oklahoma, to get a simulator, and then he didn't like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, some of those guys were spending as much on simulators as they do on race cars.
I was getting it. I was gonna buy one, and then I borrowed my buddy's, and I was like, I spent a couple hours a night after work or whatever doing it, and I was like, you have to spend all day doing it or something, because I couldn't figure it out. I was like, so they had special setups, and I'm like, nope, no, not for me.
I don't think you're alone there for sure. Hey, let's go back. I know you started 2013. Now, did you jump right into the late model in 2013? I know 2012 you actually won a race, didn't you?
I don't know. I don't remember. I think 2000. I don't remember. I won on my first ever race I won was on the half mile at Davenport. But I don't know. Let's see here. I jumped right into the late model or whatever. I practiced at Tipton a couple times or whatever, and then my dad just started me in the back. And the first year, let's see here. I didn't win. I just started in the back, and then the second year, we won. No, I did win the first year. That was at Davenport. That was at the very end of the year I won, and then
that was September 2012.
Yeah, and then 13 or whatever. Yeah, we won like 5 races or whatever in a short period of time, and we were like, all right. Well, I mean, I led a Deary race at Webster City, and then that's when everything went bad. I smacked the wall leading the Deary race. I was like 16, and then we didn't know what we screwed up on the race car and had a bunch of stuff wrong, and that was basically the end of that year in that car. So we were chasing our tail with that thing after that. So, but
good. So now take us up to this point.
So, I was able to race a lot more back then. When I was younger, I didn't have a business.
You didn't have the job.
Yeah, I didn't have a business. Yeah,
no job.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, this year, I think, my business is doing really well. So, my guys are getting more, I've trained them, they get more experience or whatever. So I was able to, not take off, but I was able to race more. And then on top of it, I think it helped out that COVID did help me out because the late model races, a lot of them got canceled. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I didn't run a lot of late model races this year. I think I ran only probably 10 times in a late model this year, or 10 to 15. I don't think that much, but probably 10. And so I was running modified a lot. And well, obviously, I can go. That's the great thing about that modified is I can go. I went to Vinton it rained out at Dubuque one night, and I went to Vinton, just hair up my butt. Me and Quentin and my girlfriend and Matt and my mom, and went up there and just had a blast, or didn't have a blast, but had a blast.
I got it.
It was another one of those nights where somebody told me to go to the back.
Yeah, somebody told me to go to the back for no reason.
For no reason.
But anyways, yeah, I got to race all over, and I've never been to Vinton before, you know what I mean? So it was a lot of fun. I got to race around home again and race with people and that I haven't raced with in a while, and it was a lot of fun and learn more, you know what I mean?
When you made the comment earlier about the late model, that you can kind of say in the modifieds too these days that there's not many slouches in that class. There's...
It's like, I'm not afraid to say it. I ran my handful of B mains this year with the modified or whatever. even at Davenport, I was pretty good at Davenport, and I was in a couple of B mains or whatever, just because I either started back too far or just didn't have my stuff together. If anybody's gonna say that that you're just gonna walk into something anymore and just whip everybody, you're crazy. You know what I mean?
There's too much talent. There's too much money.
Exactly. If you're gonna be good now or whatever, anybody can get at it. You know what I mean? Because it's people's livelihoods that are selling the stuff. So they, they have to give it to other people to survive sometimes. So, which as racers, we should all understand that. But that means you got to work a little bit harder and
find
step
that
up your game.
Something that
Exactly. So, and I don't know, that modified, I'm just comfortable right now. So it just, I don't know, things clicked. So off the bat.
They talk about defending home turf, and you even see this on the major late model circuits. He'll go into a track, and a local guy will, if he doesn't win, he does real well. Well, you had to be one of the 2 or 3 local guys that when Travelers came in from town that they had to beat.
Yeah, the Lucas World of Outlaws stuff. That stuff's just a whole nother level. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Like, they are tough. You're not just gonna go and you're not gonna outdrive a weekly guy, but you can also, you can beat him on experience or just,
knowing the track,
knowing what it's gonna do because you've raced more that year. But talent wise, you're not going to outdrive Bobby Pierce or Brandon Shepard. I'm sorry. Like, especially I pour concrete every day. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm wore out, and you're just not going to do it. They if I could race like I pour concrete, I'd be great. You know what I mean? I would never have to pour concrete ever again, but I don't. You know what I mean? I grew up different, and I'm not mad about that. It's just a different livelihood, and it just but yeah, when the SLMR came around or whatever, or like Mars or whatever, yeah, we were definitely there. We needed, obviously, some more times out. That's the biggest thing, is just I didn't have enough times out to figure out what exactly I needed. Whereas like that modified, I hit on something one night and I just stuck with it and made it better. You know what I mean? Whereas late model, I hit on it, but I just, it was different in different places, so I kept changing.
Yeah.
So.
You always have an ebb and flow, the good with the bad.
Right.
And early in the season, way out front, modified feature in the motor grenade. So what's the mental aspect when something like that happens?
Well, I was pissed, but not gonna lie. But we all were. But
right.
It happens. We've blown motors. If anybody says they haven't blown a motor, they're crazy. You know what I mean? Then obviously they haven't.
They're not racing very much. Yeah.
Or they're not on the gas. So, but. I don't know. I've never had that happen before where we were leading and then it blows up or whatever. I've had motors blown before, but it was definitely a gut wrencher just because it was a second night at Davenport. Everybody was back, and it was probably, I think it was like my third night in the modified, and and everything was just clicking.
And you were gonna win.
And I was gonna win. But oh well, it is what it is. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. It is what it is. I think I got my fair share of them. So.
What a great family tradition in the Dirks. I know when I was growing up, I remember a purple 99 Denny Dirks.
Yeah,
and,
Dennis, yeah.
So is that uncle or?
That's my uncle, yeah. Dennis is.
Didn't you have a daughter, too, that raced?
Tracy.
Tracy, yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, I'm young, so I don't know any of that.
I'd say that would have been in the 90s. She was the little 4-cylinder modified class back then.
Probably. So, yeah, Dennis and then Marty they both raced modifieds or whatever. My dad... my dad, my brother, Uncle Al, he did some legend car stuff or whatever, but my dad and my brother were always asphalt. So, yep.
Yeah, so did it just generally pass down to you then? Or were you hooked right away?
Yeah, I pretty much. My Uncle Al started me off in a little legend car or whatever, and then my dad was like, "Nah, we're gonna." You know what I mean? We're going to go right into a late model. So we went one time to Tipton or whatever, and I was hooked. You know what I mean? That was, I think it was like 13 or 14 when he got me into it to test at Tipton. And then the next season, obviously, we started in the back and just, you know what I mean? Just got experience and is what it is. Just, it went off from there. So my my dad had my cousin Brett drive for him. That's how it started or whatever. So Marty and Dennis got my dad into dirt, and then Brett drove for my dad or whatever. He won a bunch of races, was a great driver or whatever, and then he obviously has kids or whatever, so he took that route, which was cool. But then I was coming up. That was about right the time when I was coming up, and so, yep.
So you drove your first race. You were a sophomore at North Scott. So what was the feedback with your buddies and stuff there?
Funny story. So it was 2013. I was in chemistry class, and my teacher, Mr. Tippett, who's still a teacher, he's a high school football coach at North Scott.
I say, I know
Congratulations, Lancers,
Yes,
state
by
champions.
the way. I had a note to leave class or whatever. He wasn't going to let me leave class. Or it just as a joke was like, well, where you think you're going, Dirks? And I was like, well, I got to leave. Like, here's my note, blah, blah, blah. My mom called me out because I got a race. It was a Wednesday night. We were going to Oskaloosa. And he's like, well, all right, deal. But I got a deal for you. I'm like, all right, what's that? He goes, if I let you out of this class, you have to win tonight or whatever. So I was like, oh, great. You know what I mean? Like, I was a young,
We're going to have a race during the week
exactly.
again.
So it was my first time, every time going to Oskaloosa. We went there to Oskaloosa, and I passed Todd Cooney on the last lap, last corner to win.
Nice.
Dead serious. So, came back whatever the next day or whatever, showed up early just to make sure that he's seen the trophy. So,
what a great story. A couple more on Facebook. Matt, like we said, said Quentin Fishline, RC Car Driver of the Year. Quentin says, yes, I am. And Jerry Mackey says you need to go back to Vinton. He likes watching your race.
Yeah, I'll definitely go back there. I like Corey Drips. He's a good promoter. They have a great track. I didn't have a problem with him then. I was gonna go back, but the problem it's a Sunday night. It's so hard. It's an out, and not as though they run a great program, but I'm not 16 anymore. I'm not old, but I'm like, yeah, getting up at 6 to go to work in Fort Concrete all day. I was like, nah.
Well, that win at Farley, you said in the story, one of your quotes had to be, well, I can't celebrate now. I got to go to work Tuesday morning. This is a Monday night race.
Yeah. It was $10,000 to win, and I still had to get up and go to work. So
did you run that Tuesday at West Liberty then?
I did. I finished 4th. That car was very good, but finished 4th there or whatever. I think Chris or Chad won. I don't know who won, but I ran there.
So how'd you like? I just kind of watched. I wasn't living around here when it started, but the Corn Belt Clash.
I wish they were around still, because that would be like, that's like the Mars or MLRA. You know what I mean? They ran a bunch of races for regional guys. You know what I mean? 3,000, 2,000, 4,000, 5,000 to win shows. We went up to like Wisconsin and stuff like that. I wish he was still around, because those were now, because I'm actually running better. But that was what we ran that a couple years ago or whatever. So they were it was just like MLRA and stuff like that. So you get a bunch of pop-ins like Bloomquist, obviously, and Mike Marlar and Clanton and whatnot. So
and in that race, Marlar came just for that race, because he was going home. Mm-hmm. He wasn't even going to West Liberty, because he was getting ready for the North-South North-South 100. Mm-hmm. So he went back home. But anyway, hey, usually we got some boxes sitting here of products for Done Right that Done Right puts out, and Kelly and his crew. But instead today we're going to talk about a deal for you. You can get some cash for the holidays, as much as $100 off any service, and also $100 referral fee on many services. So if you need some cash for the holidays, can you imagine how much you can save and make? Kelly has the $100 bills ready, so just call Done Right TV and Security Systems at 563-355-7490. Talk to the girls here and find out how you can make your $100 and even more than that. Kelly and I were putting that out, or he was writing that out one day. Well, you know what? Somebody could actually make like $500, and so that would pay for their service. So anyway, call Done Right, 355-7490. Also, our technology talk for today on things that we do at DoneRight.tv. a big factor is the internet. We use internet for the show. We use internet at all of our races, and we have our actual live stream platform. And I'm not going to bore you with the name or anything, but we can actually bond internets together, so we can have as many as 4 internets working that to make sure that we bring you all the great action and we don't lose signal and all that. That happened to me once this year, even with several internets. And so, but anyway, that's the technology that goes into our race casts. It's amazing, and I don't understand it. But
You're gonna have to give me
plug it
those
in
passwords, because next year with having to run race pass and transponders, my little phone's gonna be on fire all night.
Yes, they are. Yes,
I have to
do
hotspot down in the infield, so
we can do that, especially when we're going to build on the internet, so we can have all 4 at all of our races, which would be great. So what's on the horizon? Years to come.
I don't know. I think we're gonna do the same stuff we did this year, whatever. But I'm most positive we're gonna run some more late model shows. Focus a little more on that, just because hopefully we don't have to deal with COVID. If we do, then obviously we'll probably just take it, week by week or whatever. But we ran a lot of shows this year for what I usually do. But yeah, we're definitely gonna hit the late model stuff as much as we can. I'm still a late model driver. I want to be a late model driver. You know what I mean? I just the modified it was
you
fun.
want to go racing though too.
Yeah, but I want to go racing. So that was obviously that proved it, or this year proved it. It just race. I don't really care what I race or where I race. I just want to race. You know what I mean? But late models, yeah. I feel like I can run with them. I just gotta have a little more seat time and knowledge and learn and whatnot. So
I was looking at race pass before we came over, and I know that's not everything you raced, but it said something like 43 nights just on race pass.
Yeah. That's not near enough though.
No,
for them
and I'm
guys,
sure
compared to them guys.
And I'm sure that's probably not half
not
of what
all
you
of
did,
it.
because a lot of places still don't use race pass. But
that's probably pretty good actually. I think I think I had like 27 or 28 or right around there, 27 to 30 nights in the modified. I think I figured up, and then obviously probably them 13 or so.
Well, I'll tell you
that
the other impressive number on that was over 50% of those nights you were in top 10.
Yeah, we were pretty when we were out there, we were pretty sporty. Yep. So we just had to keep all the pieces together and not
keep it on the track.
Yeah, keep it on the track.
Not have to come from the back. Cuss that guy out to send you to the back.
Yeah, sometimes.
Hey, you know what? I hate it, and I hate it when I have to do it, and it's like, come on.
I wasn't mad about or whatever, because I knew I was probably the one. I was stopping on the front stretch because I wanted the caution. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, heck no. You know what I mean? So, but I don't
think you were alone that night. Yeah. And, unfortunately, like I say, with me, I only get to see so much of it. So I rely on.
Oh, yeah.
And I usually ask them, are you sure? Or you sure?
I'm surprised there wasn't a bigger wreck than there actually was, because it was just a melee. That first lap was like, I think everybody wrecked like 14 times.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh my God, just start the race over and let's just start over, because everybody sucked. Like,
start over.
Yeah.
Do-overs.
But
hey, time now for birthdays, and we didn't hit these last week, but so I'll run down the ones. And Bob Taggart has birthday yesterday, in fact. Happy birthday, Bob. Eric Gustav, Carl Bloom. Let's see who else is on that. I had like 8 people on my Facebook list that all had birthdays in one day. Eric and Carl, Austin Ruman, Travis Kaler, who's over Kankakee Way. Happy birthday here a couple days ago. Kevin Rasden, boy, he had a decent season for his rookie season in the
sport mods, especially with the amount of sport mods. I mean, modified class was huge, but I think we had 40 to 50 sport mods almost every night at the racetrack.
That's crazy.
Yep. So Kevin, happy birthday. Also, Marion Cummings, happy birthday this past week. Cam Reimers had a birthday here a couple days ago. Kevin Feller, birthday back on November 17th. So happy birthday, Kevin. Let's see, and we talked about Kelly here a week ago. He had his birthday. Let's see who else is there. Kevin Schroeder, he always tunes in. Happy birthday, the great Jerry Woland. Grew up watching Jerry race. Had a birthday, and also Brandon Banks, the bad boy, had a birthday here the last few days. Craig Crawford, also a birthday. And I think I got everybody else. Maybe I did get them last week. I don't remember doing it, but
I think we did a generic last week.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, this past week, happy birthday. And then some today. Brad McDermott has a birthday today. So happy birthday, Brad, and also Ethan Prim. We got to see him in his 4-cylinder a couple times from Southern Illinois. So happy birthday. Now talk about your sponsors and crew and
Oh boy.
and all that. I know, I can bring them up on your website if you need to. But,
No, they're like Rockstar Energy Drink, Pleasant Valley Ready Mix. They're just all big parts of our deal. James V. Costello Builders, H&H Towing, Pepsi, Bill Johnson or whatever. Moore Enterprises, Pat Moore. Hopefully you'll see him and his boy this coming year, maybe in a modified or whatever. But trying to get him in there. But oh boy, I'm not good with sponsors.
Pepsi's been with you guys for a long time.
Yeah,
I can remember that on your
Bill
car
and
skirt.
my dad are pretty close or whatever. They go and have a drink every once in a while, and
And it's not Pepsi.
yeah, it's not Pepsi, but they and Bill does. We do a lot. We did a couple jobs this summer for Bill over at his distribution center or whatever. So, but he helps us out a lot with just giving us some free pop and Gatorade and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's all we need. We don't we don't need your $1 million checkbook because we're not gonna go to Georgia to race. I can't. I want. Right. But every sponsor on that race car is appreciated. T&G Refurbishing, Greg, Nate Busling, they do a bunch of, or Greg has always supported me. He texted me one day and was like, hey, because your car is always nice and clean, and you're a young kid, and I really want, not on a lot of cars, but I really want to be on your car. What it's going to take? And I was like, yeah, sure. We put them on right away. So it's just stuff like that. So, but we all appreciate it. Floyd's, Relt Concrete, Scotty.
He's been involved in racing for a lot of years.
Yeah. He supports us big time. Always being there at the track, always lifting spirits. If we have a bad run, he's always hey, keep your head up, blah blah blah. But Scotty, and
you're pretty dang good.
Yeah, I think so.
Looking at your website,
I was trying to picture the car in my head. Not gonna lie, but
Walking around it.
Yeah.
Stefan, do your wraps for you?
Yeah, Stefan, obviously. He did a bunch of my shirts and stuff like that. If you haven't got if you haven't got a shirt yet or a hat or whatever, we have throwback stuff too. So just got to throw that in real quick.
Sweet.
But then my crew guys.
Maybe getting a hat or something.
Yeah. Matt, Payway, he's my PR guy, he says. But Quentin, obviously, he busts his butt. There's a lot of times that Quentin, Dan, and Jim, I couldn't do it without them because I'm still on the job site half the time, and they're, in the shop or whatever. Like, Quentin comes in at nights, Dan and Jim, they'll go in during the day sometimes when they have free time, and because we all, work in the construction field. Jim, Dan, my dad, obviously, my brother, but and Quentin and Payway, they work normal jobs, so they, they come in at night and help me and Quentin. We'll be in there till, 11, 12 at night. Not as though that's late, but it's late for us when we got to get up at, 5, 6 in the morning.
When you got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then be out in the beating hot sun all day. So it just
and then go racing.
Exactly.
That night.
But we love it. I guess that's what you're going to do if you want to do good. But, and then, so I can't say enough or do enough for all of them guys. My mom, my dad, they're they obviously, I can't say again enough about them too. They supply everything. I don't pay for it. I don't own anything. They just give me the luxury of driving, and because I'm their kid and they believe in me. And my dad, if anything, if I need anything, he doesn't, there isn't a question. He just goes out and get it. I am spoiled. If we had the best of everything, and it just sometimes still stuff goes wrong or whatever, but he's always concocting on what or you know what I mean. You can see I always tease him, the Meister, you know what I mean, turning up there on what he can make better or what we can get better or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just sometimes like you gotta tell him like we're fine. You know what I mean? He's always we need, you know what I mean? We need this or we need that. It's like weird, you know what I mean? But everything's just clicking right now. You know what I mean? My brother, there's a lot of late nights that we spent in that shop, and he spent in the shop, especially when I was younger, to trying to get me better and whatnot, and just a lot of time at the racetrack and a lot of not nice words said to me to make me better. You know what I mean? But he's always there for me. Just I can't do it with all them people. You know what I mean? They've brought me to where I'm at right now. Not as though hopefully we have a long ways to go. We can be even better. And hopefully next year is even better than what it was, but we'll take what we get. I learned a valuable lesson this year, like rather than I definitely get disappointed when I don't win. I love to win, don't get me wrong. But if it's meant to be, it will be. And sometimes it doesn't happen like that.
Things happen outside of your control.
Exactly. It just, but anyways, I can't do it without them. They bust their butts for me and they just, they let me do the fun part and wheel it or wreck it or whatever happens. So, yep.
What does your girlfriend think?
Oh, I forgot. She's going to chew my butt.
That's why.
Don't worry, I've done that and had my butt chewed.
That's why we're keeping on her. This was planned.
She's always there. She's pretty quiet, but she always, we had some instances this year where she got feisty or whatever, like at Vinton or whatever. She was pissed, she doesn't like me doing bad or whatever. So she doesn't have a mouthful to say if she, about anything.
But when she does,
oh boy. But same with my mom. My mom's the same way or whatever.
I can imagine. I was being cussed out a few weeks ago.
So, but no, my girlfriend Jessie or whatever, she's doing it. She organized all the T-shirts and stuff. She doesn't complain or whatever too much sometimes when I'm in the shop late or whatever, or she'll bring dinner in. So she's definitely a big supporter and I appreciate it.
So, was she involved in racing before you met?
Before I met, I don't. She's friends with her parents are friends with the Ryans, so they obviously they knew of it, but I don't think they were involved. You know what I mean? So when she came to the racetrack, I think it was like her first couple times, so she definitely got a good taste of what it's like to eat dirt and not wear white pants and not wear anything nice and just you're definitely in a different group of people that just it's their own thing. So
no, are you part of the family business then?
So yes, so I started. My dad, obviously, I started with. I have the same kind of name or whatever, Dirks Associates. I pour concrete or whatever, flat work. I do like your parking lots and stuff like that. But we do 80% of my work is residential, but I do everything from the ground up, like your basement floors, garage floors, blah blah blah, all the flat work side of it, driveways, patios, sidewalks, stoops, so stuff like that, stamp concrete. But also do commercial stuff, so street patches, stuff like that, anything like that. I do that side. So my brother still will do flat work. He still does flat work to this day. But he bought my dad's business. And the main, what my dad grew up doing. I started my own deal, just started small. I'm still small. I have 8 great guys that bust their butts every day. We work, 75, 80 hours or 60, whatever the weather entails us to do, we need to do. But my brother has my dad's business or whatever, and he does the foundations. So what the actual house or commercial building will sit on. So so we do that, and then he does all the dirt work and stuff like that.
So you guys can do a lot of stuff together.
Exactly. And we work. My dad had it to where when I was younger, we work together. We're not. Most brothers, don't get me wrong, we fight and whatever, bicker or whatever. You're always going to
family businesses aren't the best things to get into sometimes.
Exactly. But for a family business, like what we have, we're both separate, so we both make our own decisions. If we don't make any money, it's your own fault. It's not your brother's fault, it's your fault. It's not your dad's fault. You're the one working. you either go out and get it or you don't. You know what I mean? That's basically what it is. So, and my dad, my dad's hard on us, but that's probably the biggest. My mom and dad are the biggest supporters we have. They're supposed to be, but they are. They you know what I mean? They'll let you know if you're doing something wrong, or if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? If we're doing good, they'll let us know. But you know what I mean? They always have our backs, and but.
They'll give the kid
They'll
the butt
give
when they need
exactly.
to.
Yeah.
I tell all my kids, say, hey, take it how you want, and I'm still your number one fan.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. So we do that. I don't know. I've grew up in it. You know what I mean? My mom and dad. My mom used to drive me to preschool or school. I still remember it to this day in the dump truck. You know what I mean? My dad drove me in the backhoe, and then my brother picked me up. And blah blah blah. My dad was waiting for me off the school bus with a bag of Cheetos and a Gatorade, and we'd go right to the job site. And you know what I mean? I was in the shop with my mom. She was doing bookwork, and I was playing in the sandbox. You know what I mean? And I was building a little racetrack in the sand. It was always racing, working, or something like that. So, yep, that's pretty much my life.
and
doesn't sound too bad.
No, it doesn't sound too bad. Real quick, Chris Hambright. Got to respect the working man. Congrats on a great year. Jim Corbett, excellent year 29. Ready for some butt kicking next year, buddy. And Kyle Hawkins, keep us in mind to pump those basement floors.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, I know we've been talking about this for months, and I know you're busy. I appreciate you taking time.
Thank you. I appreciate you waiting on me. It's been it was hard to get over here because of obviously work. What we just talked about. The sun had to go down. We were working till daylight till dawn, so we got to keep going, but I made it over here. So.
Good. Well, we appreciate you coming in, and we'll touch base again. New racing season, and have a great holiday if we don't talk before then.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, good deal, sir. We've had a lot of time. We had a lot of fun. I think I counted this as episode 33 of the podcast.
And I think was I on the first one?
I think you were on the very first one. Yeah.
So I was on the first one and the last one. Yeah. Awesome.
So was I. I don't know how that happened. Coming up on the calendar, Team Done Right this week. As we mentioned, Roberts Cars and Tyler Soppe and Ryan Walker, all their seasons are completed. As far as production, we're not done. We're going to get to that 100-night mark if Mother Nature holds out. I'm heading to Diamond Park Speedway in Nashville, Arkansas this Saturday. And, well, I'm leaving Friday, but the race is Saturday, November 28th, Turkey Nationals down there. And you can buy it on doneright.tv. Just $20 if you want to watch some racing while you're down in the leftovers. We'll have it on doneright.tv. Then Kelly will be down back at Hendry County Motorsports Park on December 5th and 6th. It's the annual Jim Morgan Memorial for the street stocks down there. Kelly will have that for you. And $3,500 to win a 92-lap feature for street stocks. And that's always a good race. I saw a couple of those when I raced down there. And then, and we announced this a month ago, but we are going to be the official pay-per-view provider for the Stars Mod Light Sugar Bowl, which is their version of Speed Weeks down in Hendry County, February 11th through the 13th. So we'll talk before then. We'll get back on here and have a couple Go Fast podcasts before then. But Done Right is the official pay-per-view provider for the Stars Mod Light Sugar Bowl in Hendry County, February 11th through the 13th. So it has been a blast in 2020. It's been weird. It's been wild. And like I saw on the back of a sign at the vet up there on Kimberly Road, giving thanks, but thankfully 2020 is almost over.
Yeah. Hope for bigger things in 2021. Or at least smoother.
Right. And I saw a couple memes on Facebook. A couple people shared this that on New Year's Eve, not waiting for 2021. We're waiting to see 2020 leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'll do it. But hey, guys, thanks again, and Brett, thanks as always.
Hey, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah,
this was fun.
Next year. All right. So the checkered flag is out. Our first Go Fast show was in January. This is episode 33, and it's a blast. And we're going to take some time off. We'll rejoin you in January. Have a great Thanksgiving this week. Wonderful holiday season. So happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. For Spencer Dirks and for Brett Severson, I'm Rob Hinckley. God bless. Remember, we always see the racing victory lane, but remember the real victory lane is heaven and his son, Jesus Christ. So checkered flag is out.